What's up guys, this is Elige, and I'm pretty much making a part 2 to my map control guide, and this one is going to be more focused on how do you actually defend the site when you don't want to repush, when you don't want to find information. You can't always repush some other side of the map, or you can't always refight because you can't stay predictable, right? You want to be doing things that the enemy doesn't always expect. You want to have different paces of the round. You want to know what your options are when you have to, play this different style. How are we going to stop them? So that's pretty much going to be the key focus of this video, is how do we stop them when they're coming to our site and we are prepared for that. We aren't going to repush. I will be showing some examples from some actual games, but I want to just kind of discuss like the theory of like how this can realistically look. Before we continue, if you want to take your Counter-Strike abilities to the next level, then you need to check out refrag.gg. Refrag is the premier training tool available for Counter-Strike 2, with over 20 different modes that train you at each aspect of the game, from aim to counter-strafing, utility, and so much more. If you want to use the training platform that me and so many other players use, then you need to check out refrag.gg. And now let's get back to the video. Again, let's go on Ancient here, and let's just say that, I have one smoke, or maybe I have two smokes. Maybe my A guy has a smoke with me, but for now, let's just say we have one smoke. So I'm jiggling. The T's, they just took mid control, they smoked red, and now they're going to be coming out mid. They didn't smoke me off donut yet. For now, I'm good, right? I don't need to do anything because I'm not smoked off. I can see red. If they actually try to come donut, I still have my smoke. Here comes the smoke from the T's. I'm like, hey, they're smoking donut, guys. They can cross red. Now, this is pretty much where we have to make the decision of, do we care? Do we have somebody at red? Am I just gonna, fall back into sight? Or are we gonna fight for mid afterwards? This video is more about what do we do when we're not gonna repush some area of the map. So we're not gonna refight mid. We're not gonna repush A main. We're gonna keep into strong setups, and what are our options? So at A, this is a setup that you see in a lot of games where when this smoke happens, he falls back, and we're gonna have one player at A. He's gonna be boosted onto the tree. So he's gonna be focused on A, and he's also able to see the shadow when they're coming out, and he's going to be able to kill probably 1, 2, and I'm going to be here with my smoke, and I'm going to be jiggling because I don't want to get caught, right? Because if we're not going to be refighting mid, if I'm here and I'm just holding the smoke, there's a chance that the T's, they could just, throw a flash at me and they can go through the smoke, and I might just die. Even if I'm playing here, I'll get blind, I'll play, at this spot. I might be facing 1, 2 guys at the same time. That's not ideal, right? And I want to be playing with my other A player. And as soon as they actually start coming A, so, maybe a smoke starts coming over from A main or from mid, they smoke CT, they throw that flash that I was talking about in donut so they can either, go late. Maybe they actually did want to come through the smoke. And as soon as this happens, I'm just going to smoke them off, and I'm going to make sure that I kill them coming through the smoke. This could be really late. This could be maybe 20 seconds, and the T's have gambled everything on coming through here. So here in this example, we have Spirit versus Mound on Ancient, and there's a red smoke. Eventually, Spirit is going to have mid. They're going to smoke off donut, and Jimfet, he has his smoke. This is a low buy, but this is still good for just the fundamentals of like what's happening. Jimfet, instead he's going to re-smoke off donut, and that's okay. Brolin still has a smoke. They actually smoked A main at the same time, so Torzy can move. That's okay. See how much time is still on the clock. We still have 40 seconds left, and we still have one more smoke at A. The key is that at A, they wanted to be strong. They had 3 smokes. The last smoke is gone at 37 seconds, and this is going to be very hard for Spirit to crack into. Donk gets kind of owned here. Chopper's still behind a smoke. They're feeling the pressure because of Exertion's really greatly timed repush. They had that info. And unfortunately, Mouse is going to be falling here. They do have like a low buy, and Zwayne's getting this kill. That makes Brolin have to look towards Donut. But this is still like the fundamentals of like what is a strong setup? Like how do we win the round if we're going to be saving nades and kind of forcing them to come in? And if we have one more smoke, let's just say that whoever was playing on boost, maybe he didn't use his smoke either. Maybe he gives me another smoke. And if it's not 20 seconds like I was saying before, maybe it was 40 or 50 seconds and they wanted to get rid of my smoke. If he has one more smoke because we're saving it, then I can re-smoke this and I can play together with my A main guy. I can play right next to him. If they start coming out A main, we can just kill these guys and play into A. Or, obviously I can just keep holding the smoke and I can kill them. So this is like the key, that you can save your utility and you can be in a strong setup. And you should have this on all of the sites that you play of what do you need for minimum utility, or if you're saving utility. All right, so now we have round 8 from the same game. And they flash off Jimfat. There's actually supposed to be a smoke here, but it ended up missing. Either way, Jimfat gets pushed back, like I was saying in the example. Exertion's going to come over. He still has a smoke and a molly. And as you can see, at B, they're super strong. Brolin's even saving his nades. Spinks has his smoke as well. So this is definitely something that MOUZ is planning to do. They want us to force Spirit into an exec at the end of the round. And if Spirit's going to be doing these slower paced rounds, then they're going to just get met with a wall of smokes. And Spirit, they're actually getting really close here. And they're actually going to have a really great counter to this. I think that they predicted this exact thing. Maybe they're expecting Torzy to be at Brokey and he's going to be holding Donut. So they probably expected this setup. But this is the theory of what is happening in these rounds. And it makes a lot of sense. These are the things that you have to be able to vary up your game with. All right, so last ancient example here is going to be not the same setup that we saw before. Slightly similar. But as we've said before, MOUZ is not going to be repushing. They're going to be having a strong setup. I mean, Brolin, he still has cave control. But these two A players, they're going to be playing together now. They know that somebody can cross to red. So Dunk, he is actually going to be cross towards red. And the setup is pretty much going to be, we're going to leave A open. We're going to just we're going to expect that the T's aren't going to just walk out here because that's very risky for them. They don't know exactly where the Opera is. Torzy hasn't really shown that. And Jimfat's going to be holding a sliver with his smoke. They're going to be playing heavy for Donut, and Exertion's going to be holding the left since he knows that they could be crossed. 30 seconds left. This is a fine time to be throwing your smoke, especially when we've been leaving A open for so long. Jimfat, he's going to be smoking Donut. He's going to be checking A, and he's right here. Chopper is actually A main, and they're going to be going for this A split. And this is a very nice round from Exertion. So Torzy gets 1 for 1 with Donk. Still has that molly for CT. Doesn't kill, but Exertion's going to have a really nice round here. Super low time. And then this is what can kind of happen. So they have to go for this plant. Time is low. There's 5 seconds left. And when you're playing like this style where you're not repushing, you're not giving the enemy something to work with, then you can just force them to be in these really awkward duels. They have to try to get the bomb down, and Exertion ends up winning the round for them. So now let's show examples of this on Inferno. What do we do when they're actually coming B? The classic setup that pretty much everyone knows is one guy's holding a flash at coffins, and then one guy is either at first holding a Molotov like this, or he's jiggling CT with a Molotov. So it's just some variation of this. If they actually come B, how are we going to stop them? We're going to stop them with a Molotov, and we're going to stop them with this flash. I even saw Nerds recently, he just like threw a smoke like this, and he just like has this whole thing to play around. There's different variations of how you can be, playing these site setups. On the A site, you'll see that in my example with Furia, that Fallen is going to be jiggling here with a Molotov. When they actually come, he's going to Molotov close short. And now they're in a really nice crossfire with Pit. They're sitting behind this molly. They have to smoke it if they want to go through. So if I have one Molotov, I can pretty much shut down something short. So if I throw this Molotov, if the T's want to go, sure, they can go. But they have to smoke this Molotov now. And if I'm a player in sight, this is something that I can actually use too at the same time. And depending on if Apartments is smoked or not, this is something that is very, very potent actually as a CT when they smoke this out. Of course, they're going to be throwing some flash, right? But normally the flash is going to be going towards Pit. So if you throw this Molotov and you go behind this default box and Balk is smoked, and you know that this flash is coming, you're not going to get blind here. So this is kind of like the theory of how you can, make these setups for yourself on all the sites that you play, of how do you actually want to defend. What utility do we need when we don't want to, repush? Maybe they're holding for us and we keep getting, just picked apart on our repushes. So for this example, we're going to have MOUZ versus Furia on Inferno, and we'll see how they're going to defend when they're actually coming up A. You see, as soon as they start coming up mid, Yuri's going to be mauling short. So as soon as he hears the flashes up mid, he's like, okay, they're going to be mid popping. Now they're either going to be coming short or long. So he mollies short. And now he's going to be smoking on apps. And Caserado, he just has his gun out. He could even molly if he wanted to. But they have a really dangerous crossfire now. Yuri can play off this very well. He is going to be mollying this. And while all this is happening, I do want to just highlight the short and pit players. Molodoi is super safe. He's playing at the very back of library. Free kill. He can't really get flash with what they threw. gets those, and now the round is pretty much over. They are not playing for mid at all. They're completely giving, all of mid. They're saving their utility. So what are they going to be doing with their setup? What is their key goal of how they're going to be defending on the site? So here we're on Dust 2. I want to show a variety of maps, of course. It can't all just be Ancient. And the whole thing is just lots of HEs towards short when they start going towards A. And when energy is going to be going across short, they are going to just get pelted with all these HEs. Very hard for them. And of course, this is kind of like a specialty strat, of course. Like everything is set up for like this anti-short exec. But the key is just like having these set strats where you're saving the utility and you're able to stop them when they are doing these execs, I think is really, really nice to have. In this example, we have Rops and Mezzi at B. Now the key is just seeing like what is going to happen in the later part of the rounds here. Apex kind of came over and he gave him a smoke, which I think is very nice. So this thing is, kind of being planned. I'm not sure if they planned this from the start, but I like that Apex is coming over trying to make the B player strong, because as soon as he gives them 2 more smokes, they have 2 more smokes to work with at B. Apex doesn't have to worry about them anymore. And if you look at the money on Legacy, they're on Tech 9s. This is an anti-force kind of round. Of course, they're not like fully forcing, but they need to have something to stop this. And there's so many strategies that the T's can use. They can go all across shorts, they can do B pop, they can do a B split. And if you give the B players some utility to work with, then they can be more than fine. So now that these 2 players here have 2 smokes, they are in such a good position to stop whatever the T's might do. Because they have a Tech 9 armors, they could be going across short. They can be, doing mid B as they do in this round. They could just be doing a B pop. And if they run out of utility, that is where things get dangerous. You want to have something where you can, stuff your opponents. You can block them. They see these nades coming in. Robs re-smokes, and he's going to be holding the tunnel smoke. His goal is to try to not get flashed or just try to spam them. And Mezzi's going to smoke door. So this is how Vitality is going to be stopping this B pop, B split with the Tech 9s. And for their efforts, they went 3 for 2, pretty respectable. Very hard to hold regardless. B is one of the more difficult sites, of course, but the B players, they did their job here. I hope that these examples kind of highlighted exactly what I was going for in this video of, how are you actually going to be defending on these sites with the utility that you have. When you're saving the utility, you're making the T's force their hand into an exec, into a pop. And if they weren't actually, planning on doing this exec in the end of the round, they might not even have enough utility to do a proper execute. Having this variability in your game, on your team, in your pugs, that's what's going to keep on bringing you to the next level, just thinking about this theory. And I hope that this helps you guys a lot. Let me know in the comments if you like this video and what you'd like to see more in the future. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.